And now, Splunk's Cybersecurity 60-second charity challenge. Remember the rules. You've got to get through an entire subject in 60 seconds, or you donate to today's charity of choice. Good luck! Audra, what are we doing today? What are we talking about? What's our charity?
Sure. So last week, the password manager LastPass notified customers that someone had gained access to their development environment through a compromised account and took portions of the LastPass source code and also some proprietary technical information. They say there's no evidence that any customer data or encrypted password vaults were accessed. But in response to this news, I've seen a lot of people, on Twitter and on social media question whether they should still use a password manager or how concerned they should be about this. So that's my question to both of you for the charity challenge is why do you think password managers are worth using and how concerned should people be about this incident? So who wants to go first?
Well, Mick, I think you've won the last 3 in a row because of disloyal.
Like 300 in a row, really. Who's counting? Who's counting? It just
your choice. Who's first?
Let's go with Ryan.
Ooh, Audra says Ryan.
Command decision.
All right. Lucky, our lovely producer, roll the 60 seconds, and I'll start when I see it. Okay, so the question here is really not do I stop using LastPass, but rather should I still use password managers? Because every company can be breached. And frankly, I think when you're the world's largest password manager, you're going to be targeted a lot. So for me, the question is not do you use LastPass or not? It's do you continue to use a password manager? My answer is 100%. I think they're fantastic. However, you might want to consider a different approach of having different passwords in different vaults. That's a terminology used by OnePass, for example. I have most of my regular day-to-day passwords for things like Netflix, etc. That's all generated by my password manager in a single location with a very long passphrase. And then I have my sensitive passwords in a second one that uses multi-factor authentication, like an authenticator or YubiKey. This gives me a different basket of eggs while still taking advantage of the convenience of password managers. The value truly outweighs the risk of a breach. And if you're worried, use something like OnePass with cloud storage where your data is in the cloud but not hosted by a provider.
Hey.
On time departure.
Awesome timing.
There we go.
All right, Mike, are you ready? Are you muted?
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
All right. So LastPass, my one login, need my password, password box, RoboForm, my passwords, Informaticore, Keeper, F-Secure Key, Dashlane, KeepSafe, Avast Passwords, 1Password, and one login. Those are all compromised going back to 2014. I didn't go back farther because I was hungry and I wanted hot dogs, and they were delicious. But see, this breach with LastPass is about source code. So it's either the most terrible thing ever or a big nothing burger like some TV show about dragons. Time will tell. The point here is not to slam password managers. Password managers are a good idea. You don't memorize the phone numbers, addresses, and birthdays of all your friends. How is storing your contacts any different than using a password manager? But how about we try this? Let's start moving to passwordless authentication. If you're watching this episode, you've likely got a phone. That phone can be used as your FIDO auth. Use an authenticator to sign in. Slowly migrate away from passwords, and you won't have to worry about a provider getting compromised. Just make that change slowly over time, and you'll be better for it. But still use a password manager.
Yay, that was so good. I like. Am I deciding, by the way, this week? Or
you're deciding, Audra?
Okay.
You
are deciding.
Well, I'm definitely going to pick Mick this week. You both had great arguments, but I'm going to go with Mick because I love the transition to passwordless because that's something we're seeing more and more of, especially, I think Apple was talking about doing that recently with some of their devices. And, especially how many password managers have had some form of compromise. I don't know if a lot of people are aware, but ultimately having unique passwords for every account is still better than reusing the same password, which is what a lot of people do if they don't have a password manager. So you're much better off to store them, encrypted in the cloud than, having one in your brain that you reuse. So that's what I'm going to go with. Congratulations. And I think the charity this week is the Gavi Alliance because August is National Immunization Awareness Month. So this alliance is a public-private global health partnership, and their goal is to increase access to immunizations globally, especially in developing nations. So,
well, I was prepared for this. I knew how disloyal and untrustworthy you were, Audra, but still, it just, every time it's just like it hurts, if I'm
I'm so
honest.
sorry.
It's okay, but here we go. Proof in the pudding, as discussed. If we can share that over, Lucky successfully donated $60 to the show. So